Okay, let me find my notes so I know what to say. Are we live? Okay. Let's see, at 10:01 AM, we are calling this meeting to order. Let's see, can we, let's say the pledges. Everyone's please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Let's see. Oh, there you are. You moved. Linda, can you do a roll call, please?
Chairperson Pat Rawlings.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Karen Poe. Board Member Cody Abney. Board Member Ruth Ann Gilbert.
Here.
Board Member Jane Little.
Okay, it appears that we have a quorum. And let's see, we have one person signed up for public comments, Radon Tilley. Radon, how you doing?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Chair Rawlings and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I thank you for the work that you are doing for Parks and Recreation for the city of Woodcreek. I'm actually speaking today on behalf of the Wimberley Valley Watershed Association, for whom I serve the role as creative director. And we are certainly excited that the city of Woodcreek has put in a proposal with the Hays County Parks and Open Space Advisory Commission. We think the Woodcreek City Parks project is a wonderful, worthy project, and we love to see any city and organization paying attention to parks, and especially beginning to realize the Parks and Recreation Master Plan that the city of Woodcreek has had for a couple of years. The association has also put in several proposals with Hays County POSAC, as they call it, and we have another one yet to submit. So we've been active in that, and actually have Coleman's Canyon as the top-ranked project from the original round of submissions that hopefully will be actually closing here. So it is a long process, and I know that they have asked for folks to submit additional information as time goes on. And one of the suggestions from the committee is that the Watershed Association coordinate in some way with the city of Woodcreek on our project, which is the Cypress Creek to Cordova Trail, which includes the Carson property along Cypress Creek and a portion of Campion, Judea. And we look forward to that. I have submitted some joint resolution wording, and hopefully at some point that is something that can be considered. But anyway, we just want to be, as the association has been for 25 years, a partner in the community, working with cities and other organizations to preserve parks and open space for the community. So appreciate your time, appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Radon. Okay, and I think those are all the public comments that we have. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the July meeting?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made by Karen Poe, seconded by Cody Abney. Would you like to call the vote on that?
Board Member Gilbert.
4.
Board Member Abney.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Poe. Aye. Chairperson Rawlings.
Aye. Okay, now I got to get on the right agenda here. One of our members is going to have to leave a little early. It'll still leave us with a quorum, but I would like to I'd like to start with agenda item number 4 instead of agenda item number 1 if we can. Is that okay with everything? Initially, this was talking about just Halloween events, but then Linda reminded me that it'd probably be good to start talking about the Christmas events, the winter events as well. And so, because to a certain extent, I'm wondering if there's any balance that needs to be achieved between the two events as far as the effort and any potential funding, anything like that. We've been thinking about different things, and I think we discussed it at a previous meeting at Halloween about doing a hayride / parade, even to the point maybe where you have bicycles included as well, because our speed limit and how slow the whole thing will be, it could work that way. Do we have any, let's see, we have the discussion. We can do the discussion first, yeah. What do you guys think on that? What do you think are some good ideas for plans on this? Can't hear.
I think it would be fun to have a hayride,
Mhm.
get a couple of trailers, do hay bales,
Mhm.
and depending on the weather, if we
Yeah,
buy
the
our
weather
hay
is
bales-
always a concern.
Yeah, if we have hay bales from King Feed, if they don't get wet, we can return them,
Mhm.
and so that would be no cost.
I wonder how they would react to having several dozen hay bales returned.
I did, for the parade, I had about a dozen,
Uh-huh.
and they took them back.
Which parade?
For the 4th of July. I had 2 floats I was working on.
Oh, okay.
And we had at least.
Did they know up front that you were going to do that? Okay.
Yeah, they're fine with it.
Are they
Take
really?
them out when you return them and make sure it's still edible for the cows. And then they'll take them out. You get your money back.
Well, I know of 4 trailers we can get our hands on. And none of the trailers are very large. They're like 5 by 10, 6 by 10, something like that. So you couldn't get a lot of kids on them. But if you're going to have little kids and, their parents and stuff, you probably don't want them riding bicycles for the really small children. And there might be others that have difficulty.
I think the triangle would be a good place to hold it.
Well, I have approached Jason at the golf course because they have the big parking lot, about staging initially there and then ending up there at the golf course.
Just-
Yeah, because depending on the size of this, you could maybe overload the triangle.
Maybe just go down to the triangle and come back.
Would-
Are we talking about Halloween?
Halloween right now, yeah.
So we could also do something similar for Christmas.
Yeah, and at Christmas, we could do, but if you did a hayride, the hayride just has got a big footprint to it. Whereas if you had bicycles and golf carts and stuff, or you had Christmas caroling where people were walking around or something, it wouldn't have the same footprint as a hayride would.
I think a hayride would really involve a lot of the children in the community, and I think that would be a very popular event for them to dress up and then to show off their costumes.
Well, and what we're talking about is October 30th, Saturday before Halloween.
Mhm.
Because if you tried to do this where it coincided with Halloween, given the influx of kids that hit Woodcreek Drive on Halloween, it would just be now impossible to do. I mean, you could avoid maybe Woodcreek Drive, but it cuts right down the middle of the city. I don't
Yeah.
see any way to do it. And the kids would already have their costumes on the
Yes.
Saturday the day before.
Mhm.
What
What kind of a route are you envisioning for this, Pat?
Well, initial thought was, and this may be too long, going from the golf course out to Champion Circle and then going around Champion Circle, taking a left back on Woodcreek Drive, going to Brook Hollow, going down Brook Hollow to Augusta Drive, looping around Augusta Drive back to Brook Hollow, and then back to the golf course. That's a long trek. If they were on bicycles, that would be hard. That may be too long. But that's just an initial thought. That's,
Yeah.
that's why I want to hear from you guys on it. So, and we're also looking for non-Parks and Recreation Board citizen volunteers. Let's say people that were former elementary school teachers and people that have kids in the neighborhood that could network a lot on their own, so we could share the load and help them kind of hit critical mass as well. I guess at this point, without firming up all of the plans in detail, I guess we need to see about making it an official city event, which I would assume would involve a action from city council to do that. And so we would also probably at our next meeting want to ratify some of the plans, but this is not my forte, okay? I'm not an event planner. So I would love to have input from people that have more experience with things like that to help with event planning. So,
I think that we can, or we should go ahead and ask the city to approve the event.
okay, yeah,
For their agenda. It's by
So they can get-
October,
right. No, I was hoping we might get a motion today to do that so we could hopefully act on it during the council meeting. Can we move that quickly?
It can be acted on the September 22nd meeting because it's not on the agenda for the council.
Oh, okay, okay.
But we can still get our motion in.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so,
We can get our motion in
That
and we
gives us
can
a month.
have informal
Yeah.
planning that doesn't involve any degree of commitment before that point, probably.
Are we going to ask for some money to fund some of this? The minimum we'll have to pay for the hay to take it away from King Feed.
Right.
The council has in their proposed budget, at the discussion at the workshop was that there would be events coming from the Parks and Recreation Board. And right now there's $6,000 budgeted for all the community events.
Okay, great.
But that includes the National Night Out, which will take probably a third of that, you said.
It's operating budget though.
Yeah, so, I mean, we probably will need a little signage or something, at the staging point. You have the hay, maybe some degree of refreshments of a non-alcoholic sort.
Probably candy.
and candy.
Candy,
Probably a lot of candy.
yeah,
If there's, I guess the goal would be to have the children participating in the hayride, not standing on the side of the road with us driving by.
Mhm.
Right. And
Then-
so having several locations
Mhm.
where they could stop, like Bud had alluded to, they do in La Ventana.
Clusters of, yeah, that's exactly right. Clusters of trick-or-treating houses.
Or maybe people clustering at parks. You want to say something?
Well, and once the gazebo is in at the Triangle, we could certainly, in the next year or so, host a fun candy punch or something right there, which would be really, really fun.
Oh, yeah, and that would
Everybody.
be, I think,
Yeah.
even better for a
Yeah.
Christmas event.
Yes, yeah.
So
Okay.
we just don't have any idea how quickly Pozak, I should be more aware, but I'm not crystal clear on, I'm sure that's not going to move rapidly. And then once, even if that moves rapidly, you still have to have the thing
Oh,
built.
yeah.
So,
It's just a dream. isn't
no,
it?
no, it's something to aspire to.
But Halloween candy, should be pretty available right now if we want to start maybe purchasing some,
Yeah. So do we have a motion to have the Halloween event? And
I'll make the motion to ask the city to host, is that the right word? The Halloween event,
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Host.
to host the Halloween event?
To recommend to council?
I think the motion would be to recommend to the city council to hold the first annual Halloween event,
Okay.
and with funding coming through the community events budget item.
Okay. So,
yeah, what he said.
I second that motion.
Okay. And a second from Ruth Ann. So Karen made the initial motion vis-a-vis Brendan. Yeah, I mean, it's better to have it articulated properly. Okay, yeah, I guess we do need a vote on it, don't we? Thank you so much. I just get carried away. Thank you. So could you do a roll call on that?
I could.
Thanks.
Chairperson Rawlings,
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Poe,
aye.
Board Member Abney,
Aye.
Board Member Gilbert,
Aye.
Okay. And so let's see. So now we can go back to our regular agenda item number 2. And as I did the spiel to Pozak on the parks, I'll just kind of report back. And Brenton, as you listened in, if you have any input that I forgot from,
Okay.
what happened,
Sure will.
please pitch in. The members of the board all collaborated on ideas to put forward, and these are all items that were approved by council to move forward with. And so we did the presentation to Pozak, and really the only comment that we got back was, are we working with the DeCarvanova Trail activity, meaning more specifically the Carson property, on potential collaboration with them for the use of the Carson property for some of the stuff that we are talking about. And at that point, I kind of winged it and said that we are certainly open to any mutually beneficial recommendations that might come from them and could be enabled by the city and the city council to happen, because the Carson property would be a real gem for Woodcreek to have access to and to have in our city limits. And that is, I think, been something that a number of people have aspired to over the years. So I don't think we really need to take any action on it, but I did want you all to be aware. And what are your thoughts on that? As I was speaking for the group, and at the time I couldn't poll anyone when I responded.
I think it's a fair statement. I mean, anything that's mutually beneficial, we're going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume. I don't know all the details on the Carson property. I keep hearing about it, but I haven't been here for, 20 years and been following the backstory.
It's the
on it.
property over, where the Cypress
Oh, yeah,
Falls.
I know where the property is. I just
Oh,
don't know
okay.
the backstory on it. I don't know what, I've heard the county is trying to acquire it.
Well,
Cities
there
can
is the
acquire it.
recommendation with the Cordova Trail from the Wimberley Valley Watershed Association for Hayes County to acquire it and for it to be an open space. And in some discussions I've had with one of the principals, they are very open to having recreational activities on there beyond just walking and bird watching. So if there is,
One of the principals of the Carson family? or-
no, I'm sorry. One of the principals of the Watershed Association
Okay.
that is making the proposal to Hayes County. So if we had an acre or acres to put some of our stuff on at the time we were able to do it, it would at least be worthy of consideration, I would think.
Would you mind for me explaining where the Carson property is, please?
At the end of Woodcreek Drive, you go down and then it goes across Cypress Creek.
Mhm.
Right as you turn left to go across Cypress Creek, you have this large open area to your right that has the no trespassing signs and the
That
cables and
Young-
such.
This is their kind of back entrance. Camp Young Judea comes in.
But
that-
that's the Carson property.
Okay, wow.
And there are 23 acres
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And as Radon mentioned earlier, they're also talking to Camp Young Judea about the other portion across the creek as well. But I was a little more focused on the Carson property specifically because of its proximity to Wood Creek. Our current parks are located more centrally, but if you had that large an area that you could use, you're talking 23 acres, of which they're proposing to use 16 acres for a park type area. It would be nice to have that sort of latitude.
Agreed. Would the city need to control the piece of property that we installed an improvement on?
That's a very good question, and I don't know.
So how would that work? Would that be
Yeah,
annexation?
because basically the city could not, it could go through an interlocal agreement, but basically installing our equipment on somebody else's property cannot work out.
Small,
No.
yeah.
But that's our ATJ, right?
Carson property is inside the city.
Mhm.
So, okay, it's in the city limits.
And is a trail scheduled to be through that property, part of our,
Well, they're
Trail
just
system?
talking, I think, about using the roadway that's there as a
Ah.
trail,
okay,
and there's a long roadway.
yeah.
So,
But the roadway is private property.
Mhm. Also, everything in there.
Yes.
but if Hayes County did approve their recommendations, it would become Hayes County property, right? The roadway that is on the Carson property,
Well, I'm talking about the roadway to access the Carson property
right,
is private.
right. Just as the roadway to access Cypress Point is private property.
Wood Creek
Right.
Drive is private, basically.
Yeah.
We're on the top of the hill down.
Which is a whole nother interesting topic of discussion that we probably shouldn't go into.
No, because we're getting off
No.
the
Yeah.
into the weeds.
So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that, and that is something that is being thought about. Does anyone see any action that we need to take with any of that?
I don't think there's any action we can take.
No, but I'll say you did a good job presenting, Pat.
I totally agree with that. I watched it too. It was wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't as happy with it as I wanted to be, but I don't think I completely embarrassed myself either,
No.
so.
Not at all.
Not
Okay,
at all.
good, thank you. And item number 3, let's move to item number 3, the discussion and take appropriate action for the Ride to End Alzheimer's event. And why is it spelled out ALZ instead of,
That is the way that they have designated.
okay.
We
To
did not,
end,
that is actually the name of it, Ride to End ALZ.
and that is not a, okay, I guess I don't care. If that's what they want to call it, that's great.
That's right.
And it's an important thing. If you look in your packet, it shows the route, and apparently this is a ride that some people go as far as 100 miles, ride their bicycle 100 miles, and get sponsorships from people on a per mile basis to raise money to do Alzheimer's research. And one of the very last legs of this ride before they end up at their final destination of Blue Hole is through the city of Woodcreek. And so they are looking to get support from the city of Woodcreek to do door hangers and to get people to agree to basically stand out in their front yards as the riders pass through Woodcreek and ring cowbells and make noise and cheer them on, because they'll all be very exhausted as they're coming through, especially riding 100 miles through the hill country. Linda, do you have anything else?
I was going to say Karen met with them last week too. She
Oh,
may
you
have
did?
some more.
Oh, good. Sorry.
Jane and I met.
Oh, well, you should have been talking about all of
No,
this.
you were doing good.
Okay, so, okay, could you fill in more, please?
Yeah, so they are looking for us to participate, and then she said have people to cheer on, possibly, like it's similar to the MS, but it's a one-day event.
Mm-hmm.
And they are wanting us to like set up tents and, well, like have a tent in your driveway and have people there to cheer them on and give them some publicity.
So do they, like if you had a tent, would you have a table with bottled water or anything like that, or would you? Mm-hmm.
There are several rest stops listed. You can see them. There's one at the very top up on Creek Road at Dripping, and then several of them around. They would like to have volunteers at those locations to hand out.
Oh, not just in Wood Creek, but anywhere on the route.
And
Okay.
so, but they're really wanting Woodcreek to get involved and be part of this event, have banners, whatever, just wave them on and to help and to go online and get people interested, to get the word out about this. What they're doing is, this is an event that they're holding 3 times a year now. The first one was up in Colorado. They're doing this one called the Hill Country Ride. And then the third one is, they're doing one in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so this is a national, not just a state organization.
National. And they want to make it big like this. And all the money that is collected goes to research for Alzheimer's.
And how do you sign up for this if you want to volunteer?
Volunteers.
On their
Well, if you
website.
go online,
Okay.
Linda, and I forget the last name.
Ride to end ALS.com or something, or org.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Down here, alc.org.
Oh, register today at alz.org/ride.
I see, thank you.
That
We
I
will
think
do,
what
we
they
will
would
do
like-
an e-blast.
Oh,
We'll do an
good.
e-blast with that information.
Okay.
And a website posting
Well, the link to it, yes.
the link to it. Right.
I think what they would like to see from Woodcreek is a recognition of the event.
Mhm.
And Linda, you helped me here on this volunteering, and then perhaps we do a motion for the council to recognize it and to support it.
Yeah, the council agenda today has a special event permit on the agenda for this ride. And I think what they'd like from Parks and Rec is some help spreading the word and encouraging volunteers to go to the website and sign up, and maybe organizing some little things along the route in your own front yards or whatever, or at the Triangle, or just something to cheer them on. They would like people, when they finish their ride, to hit Wood Creek and know Wood Creek's a city and be welcome to Wood Creek on their last couple miles back to Blue Hole.
One thing that I would like clarification from you, Brenton, is as we get involved with events like this ride and Halloween and Christmas, how we can promote it, but stay and plan it and without violating the Open Meetings Act. Can we get together as a group at the Parks and Rec and do things that are just acting upon things we've decided in the meetings, or how does that work? Because planning events, you just can't plan the whole event in a 1 hour long meeting.
No, but if you have the entire board, then you have to have it as an open meeting. If you only have 2 people designated to oversee planning the event and bringing it back to the board, that's the only way you can do that.
What about a workshop?
Still a public meeting.
Okay, so people could still show up, but we could have.
We still have to have all this. Yeah. It's still a public
Filmed,
meeting.
yeah.
Well, couldn't we do it like how we did, we met and went to the different parks?
That, it was posted that way. We had to show the quorum, but we had no recording of it.
Recording.
And so that was one big question is, to do that, we had no evidence. It was just a workshop. And that's why Linda and I attended, to make sure there's no action taken. But if you're planning an event, there's got to be action taken somehow. And so that's why I would recommend to appoint 2 people to oversee the event and then come back to this board. Now for this, the ride on October 10th, basically that's just to try to get volunteers and everybody work together and maybe set up a tent like at the Triangle and make sure they know they're welcome coming through Wood Creek. And like Linda said, cheer them on as they go. For your Halloween hayride, then you should have basically designate 2 people to oversee getting the event ready, and then have this board put the blessings on it.
Okay,
2 people with some volunteers.
Right.
can
Yeah,
have
you can
some
bring in other
volunteers,
people to help out.
But the whole board can't meet. to
okay.
plan Putting hay on the trucks.
But,
Mhm.
and for the actual event, we would post it that this event is happening, and there could be a quorum of the board there, but no action will be taken.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we-
Okay.
yeah, so-
Okay, well, I would like to be involved with the event. Who else would like to be?
Which event?
The Halloween,
For Halloween or all things.
Halloween right now.
Well-
Okay, or I will.
Huh?
Yeah, I would help you with the Halloween event.
And we got 2 members that want to do it.
That's fine.
I can step back.
Well, maybe I need to step back and let you 2 do it.
Okay.
I will do that. So,
Excuse me,
Okay.
y'all, everybody.
yeah,
I'm
you'd
sorry,
already
I have to
told
be-
us. Thank you, Richard.
So basically though, since the ride in ALZ is October 10th,
Mhm.
y'all need to hit the ground running.
Mhm.
And it's very basic of what needs to be done. Just make sure that we get work with the city to get the word out and come up with some kind of plan to welcome them to Wood Creek.
And because you're at work during the day and stuff, I think it would be difficult for you to deal with that.
It might be. I can
Um,
help with logistics though. If you guys get the plan put together,
mhm.
I can be sent to pick up trailers and hay and things like that too.
Well, yeah, and we will probably send out a plea through the city to get to you to do that. But I think maybe since we've got Ruth Ann and Karen on the Halloween thing, maybe I and Jane could be on the Alzheimer's subcommittee to deal with how to administer that. I mean, I'd be glad to defer to you if you wanted to. You are? Okay. Oh, that's true, Jane's. Okay, so why don't you and I be a subcommittee on the Alzheimer's thing? You're right, because Jane's situation may not change rapidly.
Can I ask a couple of questions about the ride?
Yes, sir.
So the ride starts at Blue Hole.
Starts at Blue Hole, ends at Blue Hole.
How many cyclists are they anticipating? Talking about 50 or are we talking about 500?
We're talking 400, 500.
Yeah.
And they're going to come in through the back way down Augusta?
They have got permission from the golf course to come in on their driveway, down Augusta, down Brook Hollow, turn onto Woodcreek Drive, then out on Winter's Mill.
And they actually start at Blue Hole?
Yes,
So 100-mile ride starts and ends at Blue Hole?
yes.
Wow.
But it's not
Okay.
just a 100-mile ride. It's,
Mhm.
it's 20, 40, 60, or 100.
Right.
And they-
But I was just specifically looking at the 100-mile. I thought, boy, it's a big loop.
Yeah, so it is. The other thing is they have HEB
Mhm.
has partnered with them. And the person leading that's a big writer, and they're putting together a team. And, we could try to get, I'm sure we'd have lots of bicycle people in Woodcreek. And it would be neat to have a Woodcreek team.
And what's the deadline for signing up to ride? Do you
But I
know
think
when
we
the,
can market something like that and tell people,
well, that's why I'm saying, is there a deadline up until that day you can do it, or?
I don't know about that.
I don't know. You'd have to look on the website where it has information about the riders. I know that the riders get jerseys and swag bags and stuff that have all been donated. So I'm sure they would have to know at least a little bit ahead of time what size you wore. And
So we probably need an email blast asking for any bicycle riders out of Woodcreek. that
I think
like
we
to-
would, yeah, just connect them to the site.
What we would do, since we are not in the business of promoting this type of stuff,
Mhm.
but we would send out a notice that there is going to be a bike ride going through Woodcreek to watch for them.
Mhm.
And if they wanted more information, go to that link. But basically, our email blast will be that this will be happening on October 10th. That way-
Okay, we could never use the words, or if you wanted to ride in there, go to this website.
That'd be for more information.
Okay,
Or maybe for more information for interested riders or volunteers.
We'll make sure, but we just do not want to be get into promoting things for other agencies.
Mhm.
So basically, this is basically our email blast would be,
Well, if we can go as close to the edge on
We
that
will.
as possible,
we will,
that would be good.
yeah, we will.
I think, because it does, I can't think of anybody in the room that would think it's not something, a good cause. Right, unless we discover later that, who knows. But anyway.
But no, we will go as close as we can to it, because after the council acts upon the special event permit,
Mhm.
then we can go ahead and start getting notification out that there will be a special event. Be watching for bicyclists, things like that.
Okay. And so Linda, did you get that Karen and I are the subcommittee on that?
I did, thank
Okay,
you.
all righty.
Pat, I just want to say one quick thing.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of these recreational activities, are now being sent to parks and recreation, where this really is new. in the, as far as the history of the Parks Board.
Oh, yeah.
So these recreational activities, as they do come up, or if we perceive them as being interested, the citizens interested in being of a recreational nature, we want those to come to you and to this board,
Yeah.
rather than the city always taking over those activities.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Parks Board and Recreation for a purpose.
Right.
Just wanted
And
to say that
I've,
for the record.
you know, before it was always boldface parks and then, you know, regular face recreation. You know, recreation was not a primary focus of the board, but I think for us to do that now is a good thing, and it unites the community, allows the community members to get to know each other better, and
Yes.
just, you know, it also, I've seen this in a couple of other communities that I lived in that were almost identical communities, Briarcliff and El Lago, where they did these things, and it was just a blast, and everybody absolutely loved them. So,
And once the citizens start seeing that these opportunities are there, you can reach out more to citizens who want to participate.
right,
And
it will
be on
kind
the
of
board.
be a self-perpetuating thing.
Yes. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, thank you, okay.
Do we need to take any action on it other than appointing the subcommittee?
Do we need to send something to council about the ride to end Alzheimer's? Okay,
No, they have the information before them for the special event permit. And so when they take action, they'll direct staff to work with y'all anyway, so.
okay. All righty, so our last item is any other discussion on that item? Okay. Our last item, item number 5, discussion and take appropriate action to consider a recommendation to City Council on developing a donation process for Woodcreek Parks. And I've had a number of people contact me wanting to contribute to our parks activities. And I just would like to understand, I know that it's not just as simple as saying, send us money. It's a multi-step process. But
Yes.
I think do you think we should start initiating this?
I think it's premature. I think that we need to wait until the money has been allocated to the parks before we start that.
I think it is premature to ask for the money at this point, but I'm wondering if it's premature to set up the bank account. Really?
I do.
I think one thing that you have to consider though is that if this is approved and that something happens when somebody donates to a 501c3 say, and you donate for a specific purpose, if that purpose is not fulfilled, you're supposed to contact that person and ask if they want the money back or redirect it to another purpose. So there's a lot of internal workings that you have to look at.
Well, let me ask the question differently, since that's probably not the best direction to go, at least at this time, maybe later. What if someone wanted to donate a concrete ping pong table to Augusta Park?
That's possible.
That's possible.
Mhm.
So in other words, the people that want to donate to the parks, we already have an acknowledged quote unquote wish list that we presented to POSAC. And so if we had someone donate one of those items, that would be much simpler than donating cash.
Yes.
Okay. So any objection to that?
No, I think that would be fine. I don't know that we need to do anything at this point.
No, but there have been some people that have been inquiring, I don't want to use the word aggressively, but enthusiastically wanting to do something toward parks. And so rather than just saying, no, you can't right now, we could say, here is a way.
There, if I could interject, there are funds being raised right now by people in the community with the intention of donating that to parks.
Mm-hmm.
We should decide whether or not we're going to put a mechanism in place to do something with that money, or if we're going to turn it away. I don't, the funds probably aren't very substantial, but somebody's going to say, I raised some money for you. What do you want me to do with it? And that's taking place right now.
But there again, I think that we are not, and the city's not in a position to accept funds right now, because there is nothing, we don't have a,
We don't have anywhere to use the funds.
Well, until POSAC acts on what we're doing, it's not a done deal. And so if POSAC turns us down, what happens with money? Is it
money
filling,
is
I
being
guess, is
raised
the
right
money
now. There-
filling the gap for the city match, or is the?
I can't answer that question. I just know that there are funds that are being collected,
Mhm.
and they're going to want, the person that's collecting the funds, or persons that are collecting the funds, are going to want to give it to the city.
but I just don't think this is the time for it.
It's going to put the person collecting the funds in kind of a spot.
Well, but that person did it without consulting the city.
That's true.
And the city didn't authorize it.
Understood.
So it needs to be pulled back. I'm not saying if they give enough for a ping pong table and they do that, fine. But I don't think putting the city in a position where they can't take control of this money yet. And asking them to, it's inappropriate. The person that did it without authorization, did it without checking with the city and finding out the appropriate steps to take. And that, it's not our position to cover somebody that's out there doing something unauthorized.
Understand.
And it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just not.
Could that money be redirected into a thing instead of being just cash?
I mean, as far as I know, there's nothing, there's no legal connection the city has to that money in any way, shape, or form. That person that's raising that money has control of those funds. That person can do anything they want to with it, or whatever their conscience will allow. But
Yeah.
eventually, we're going to have a mechanism in place to do this. That's going to happen
Well, and
sooner
I
rather than
think,
later.
I think
So we need
once
to
the,
investigate what type of mechanism that's going to be, so at least we know what to vote on.
Well, and I think if we get with Brenton and talk with him,
Mhm.
and then maybe let's table this for now and talk to Brenton and see what steps we need to do. But
I think that the mechanism is an understood mechanism. I mean, you know how to do this.
Yes.
You know how to set it up. So we don't really need to investigate it. It's just a kind of a recipe that they have on how to do it.
Okay.
This wouldn't even be as big an issue if POSAC had already approved us moving forward.
And you're probably right. I don't think we need any further discussion on it today. Let's wait and see what POSAC says, and then we'll address it at that time.
Yeah, but at least we did create a partially open door with the donation of things versus the donation of monies.
True.
So
So,
I will make a motion to table this discussion until POSAC has made an allocation to us and we can go forward.
And I'll second her motion.
Linda?
Board Member Abney,
Aye.
Board Member Poe,
Aye.
or Vice Chairperson, sorry. Chairperson Rawlings,
Aye. And That appears to be all that we have on our agenda. So this meeting is, am I missing anything? This meeting is adjourned at 10:51.
We're adjourning without a motion?
You don't
Huh?
have to have a motion to adjourn.
Before you